Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am your host, Saucy McFoodlefist, and today we are playing The Letter. In the last one, we had a confrontation with Luke, aka Whiskey, aka the guy who is the uncle of the little girl whose name escapes me. Anyway, recaps are boring. Let's get started, shall we? A cloudless night sky greets me when I walk out of the cafe. Beyond the tall buildings, a blanket of stars spreads out before me. Isabella once told me that the best place to view it is someplace outside the city, away from the noise and the obtrusive lights. She'd seen it once in her mom's hometown, and another time in the university she used to attend. Then she asked if it's possible to try it out here sometime. I agreed with her at the time, if only because she appeared excited at the mere prospect of it. We made those little plans along with Zachary and Ashton. We never got around to it before. Now we've all lost our chance. Even so, I find myself enjoying this, despite being told it's only half the experience. Little things, you know? Stuff you learn and appreciate when you're alone. Because at certain times, you get to meet people who unfortunately are born with the innate talent to ruin the mood and the scene with their mere existence alone. Me. For example, the very driver of the car fast approaching my direction. Luckily, he doesn't notice me. But the fleeting moment we pass each other by gives me a brief glance of the people he's with. Kylie sitting in the back seat, that's her name by the way, the little girl, Kylie. Kylie sitting on the back seat with a serving of bread pudding in her hands. And beside him, it must be his wife. Or is it the ghost of the mansion? He takes a turn and disappears at the nearest corner. But through the night, the cursory glimpse of all things to bother me has left me wondering what kind of person his wife is. And more than that is the silent prayer to the universe. I hope I don't ever cross paths with that douche again. October 27th, Thursday. The brief lull of the past 2 days has offered as nice while it lasted. Or as nice as it can get under the shadow of Isabella's recent passing up over... I'll just start that again. Or as nice as it can get under the shadow of Isabella's recent passing hovering over our heads. There have been no updates from Ashton either, despite his promise. When he breaks his silence, it's only to deliver a short message from the LPD allowing Salem Well's tenants to return to their flats tonight. Somehow, with that, it feels like the whole of Luxborn, the whole world even, has at last chosen to move on its own again. Onwards to different, more important things that really matter to the general public. Yet, something still lingers. Could it be the ghost of Isabella that still lingers? I believe in ghosts, by the way. Hashtag ghosts are real.
Like an ugly premonition.
And as expected, just as things start to settle and a steady rhythm finally worms its way back to my routine, Thursday morning brings further disturbance to the now calm waters. With little ceremony, though, still enough to ripple through everything. In retrospect, I really should have seen this coming. Luxborn is a small city, relatively speaking. Compared to, say, London or Glasgow, it's nothing but a tiny mass of land boasting a mere population of 68,000. That's quite a bit more than what I have in the city I'm living in, Rebecca, just FYI. But those numbers alone are nothing to scoff at when standing in a busy street. Exactly. And if you pay close attention, faces taking the crosswalk or riding the subway will grow familiar. How unfortunate that out of that number, it has to be Tio fucking Luke I encounter more than once.
Oh, you know, a few problems popping up here and there that the agents failed to tell us somehow. Nothing a few hired hands can't fix, of course. I would have preferred a place near the city and something that's new to save us all the trouble, but darling wife insisted. Who am I to say no?
Ah, are you kidding me?
His smug head is the first I see upon turning into the hall, in spite of the small crowd of parents and students gathered at the corridor for the primary's career day. It's not that he stands out, he's pretty unremarkable at first glance, frankly. However, it's his countenance that draws people's eyes to him. The manner he carries himself with all confidence in the world, his mere presence dwarfing everything around him. I'm willing to make a bet that he's also enjoying the attention it garners him, especially the ones coming from the women.
What an ass.
A single glance at him and I know immediately that one day, or one way or another, if we ever bump into each other again, my day will effectively be ruined in some capacity. He also exudes that air. The sort that makes you want to run him over with a lorry and pass it off as an unfortunate accident. Damn, Rebecca has some homicidal tendencies. Definitely a very violent individual, if I do say so myself. With him, it's either you want to punch him or let yourself be charmed. There's no in-between. I'll gladly do the honor of the former myself, but alas, there are people around us. Now I'm stuck with having to face one of the two.
I shouldn't have volunteered.
At the time, helping out sounded a good idea. I've no classes left today until after lunch. I could have opted to stay at the teacher's lounge and work on my lesson plans, but that means being left alone with our deputy head and his chatter. He's a good man, but Crivens, he can talk anyone's ears off. Does anyone know what Crivens means? But is that like... But oh goodness, he can talk anyone's ear off. I don't know, is that a British thing or whatever? So the moment an opportunity rose, I jumped on it. It's a simple task to boot. Just deliver a whole box of materials and a few posters for the event. Maybe stay around to assist if time will allow it. I just wasn't expecting him to show up here. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. Had I known, I would have stayed and suffered through our deputy's impromptu speeches about his life crisis instead. But what's done is done. Going back is also out of the question. With how unexpectedly heavy the load is I'm carrying, I'd hate to lug this for a trip back just because my pride can take another second of interaction with the guy. He's insufferable, alright, but I've had my fair share of dealings with teens of more or less the same temperament, all considerably younger than him, and they listened. If he wants to be difficult like last time, so be it. But he can bet his sorry English ass I'm not standing down. Left with no other choice, I brace myself and suck in a breath, mustering every bit of patience I have, and I step into the hall. My grip on the box tightens when I pull it closer to me and attempt to assume a low-key air as I amble towards the room, sorry. The box is not big enough to hide my face, even the stuff piled on top, but if all else fails, I can just hit him with it. Still, a small prayer forms in my head. If there's even one out there, please grant me enough restraint. Better yet, I hope he doesn't notice me at all. That'll definitely make my life easier. Seriously, how hard can it be? He's standing a few ways from the door, and there's plenty of people between us to use for cover. If I'm careful, I can just go in, hand in the stupid box to whoever is in charge, forget every plan of staying longer than necessary, and step out as quick as I can. Easy as pie. But as luck would have it, the exact moment I reach the room's threshold, someone barrels towards me. She latches onto my waist before topping the sudden commotion with a gleeful squeal. It's you! I knew it was you too, Kylie. The force of it nearly throws me off balance, sending the items stacked on top of the box tilting dangerously to the sides. With the child's added weight at my wrist pulling me on the spot, and both of my hands occupied, watching is the only thing I'm able to do. The short seconds in between slows as everything gradually slides off the box's small surface. Under different circumstances, this would have made for a funny story or some other time. Comical even. until another set of hands reaches out and studies the posters, threatening to take a nosedive right to the floor. Careful now, Daisy. Don't make a mess here. That's me doing Luke's voice, by the way. My entire body freezes. Upon hearing his voice alone, an irrational impulse to hit him immediately bubbles up. But before my limbs can catch up with what my brain is currently screaming at me, he moves to take the burden off my arms. Irritation gives way to surprise. Then, confusion. It is in that moment when instinct finally kicks in and I tug the box closer to me, before he can finally lift it off.
What are you doing?
Before he can fully lift it off. Sorry. I'm a little jazzed up right now.
What does it look like? You're surprisingly slow on the uptake for someone of your profession, aren't you? Bloody, doesn't this school have people for this kind of work? So much for being a center of academic excellence.
I'm going to ignore that slight to my alma mater and my work, because that's not what I'm trying to get at. You know what? Why don't we just rephrase that to something you'll easily understand? Why exactly are you doing this?
Well, you look like you could use a bit of help. Have you seen your face while you were heaving this around?
Mister, I'm pretty sure if there's ever a look on my face, it's entirely because I saw something extremely unpleasant this morning.
Aren't you a ball of sunshine today, Daisy? Having a bad day, aren't we?
Oh, you have no idea.
I'd put it away if I were you. You might scare the children.
You don't have to worry about that. This isn't my department. I was just asked to bring these. Anyway, I can handle this myself, mister. The room's just right over there. Behind you, in fact. Now, if you could please move over and make way, it would do the whole world some good.
Keeping my voice level throughout is a miracle in itself, but regardless of how polite my request is, he doesn't budge. Did what I've just said merely fly over his head? Were my choice of words really that difficult to comprehend? Surely it shouldn't be that hard. I think he might be a little touched in the head. I'd like to ask him that, actually, but Kylie chooses that instant to pipe in.
Don't worry, Miss Pink. Teo's strong. You can leave this to him. My papa does it lots of times, but I'm not allowed to talk about it to anyone. Teo says it's
Confidential, Munchkin.
That's right. Teo's smart, isn't he, Miss Pink?
I'm still of the opinion that he's a piece of shite, but I must admit his goddaughter's excitement is contagious, as always. A smile makes its way to my lips. She has yet to budge from her place, though, to be honest, I'm starting to lose some feeling on my stomach and how tightly she's wound her arms around it.
I'm sure he is, Kylie. But I'm also sure he'll find better use for it elsewhere.
Like helping you out.
Oh, well, that's one thing, but
You heard the kid.
no one's asking you.
Oh, you wound me, woman.
And I'm quite certain I can do more damage than that. Shall we give it a try? Again?
He pales, stammers for a bit, until he ultimately decides against saying anything and settles for a brief show of discomfort instead. He's probably having flashbacks of the last time we met. His composure, when he finally regains some of his bearings, says it all. It's nothing short of hilarious, if I do say so myself.
I'll have you know that threats never work on me, Daisy. Not in a million years, not ever.
You're assuming it's a threat. How cute.
That too. I'm not scared of you. Just because of the end of the script.
Uh-huh. Do go on. Keep telling yourself that.
It was a fluke, you hear? I was caught off guard and your damn book left a dent. If I end up in a hospital because of what you did, I'm sending the chief of Luxburn Police after you, woman.
You don't say.
Just give me that bloody box.
He snatches it out of my arms before a single word of protest exits my mouth and quickly disappears behind the classroom. Not that it matters who brings it now. My prior irritation has already melted into amusement. He's not so bad once you figure out how his temperament works. It's almost similar to a child. Though, I still have to ask.
Kylie, did your Tio eat something bad before coming here? He's unusually nice today.
A far-fetched idea, I know, but it's the only reason I can think of why this arsehole is still acting like a decent human. He's, quite frankly, far from being. First and foremost, we didn't end our meeting last night on a good note. If I were him, I'd avoid the very person who put a dent on his skull, as he put it so aptly. Why is he acting friendly 2 days later?
He always is. But I made him promise to be extra nice to you since you helped me so much. I think you're gonna be great friends.
I quickly stomp on the urge to groan loudly or gag at that. He's the last person I'd ever want to get chummy with in this whole city, but Kylie doesn't need to know that.
Are you sure it's not something he ate during breakfast?
I gave him some jelly babies this morning.
Those like jelly bellies? Like jelly beans?
Really brought me lots of them. Mama said I should share, so I offered half of it to Tio when he picked me up. He likes the black ones.
Oh, that's probably why he's weird. Jelly baby overdose.
He could have done everyone a favor and choked on them while he's at it. Jesus Christ, Rebecca, you need to calm the fuck down.
Do you want some? I've got more.
Like, seriously, he didn't do anything to you, and he was just... Okay, whatever.
I couldn't find Melody or Takako this morning, but I'm sure they'll be fine sharing some of it with you.
No, I'm not really very fond of them. I was just asking. Oh, where's your mum, by the way?
Out of town with Papa.
An unexpected pang hits me at her words. The statement, though innocent, unearths a whole chunk of memories from childhood. So eerily familiar. Nights spent eating dinners alone, the number of days coming home to an empty house growing with each passing year. And sometimes, several Christmas Eves spent with relatives instead of my own family. Is it too late to think about it now? But when I remember, the dull ache is still there, familiar, though lessened by the years now. Beside me, Kylie takes a step back, having gotten tired of clinging to me. There's nothing but cheer in her. She doesn't seem too affected by the fact. Although it makes me wonder how much of it is real, and how much of it is there to mask the loneliness, if there's even one. What a lucky child.
Weren't they informed of career day beforehand?
Yeah, I told them all about it. Mama was looking forward to it.
And they still left?
Uh-huh. It's important business, so it can't be helped. They promised to tell me about it when they come back tomorrow, though. Papa said he'll give me a gift if I behave. I've been a good girl, right, Miss Pink?
You always are. But they asked they asked your Tio to look after you? For this?
Nope, they didn't.
No? Then how?
It was supposed to be Tia. Mama likes her better than Tio, so she asked her, but she's sick and had to visit the doctor today.
'Cause she's pregnant, I bet. Wow, that would be a twist. If Hana is pregnant, I'm gonna be floored, to be honest with you. Anyway.
Oh, that's supposed to be a secret, by the way. Oh, but I think it's a bit confusing because Tio said she also went shopping.
See, oh my god, Hana is pregnant! That is so fucking cool! Holy shit, okay, I'm just guessing. We don't know Hana's pregnant, but she might be pregnant. Holy shit!
That's unfair. Don't you think so, Miss Pink? Mama doesn't allow me to go out when I'm sick. It's still okay, though, since Tio always buys me sweets before we go home. I'm gonna ask for a parfait today. Extra large. Don't tell Takako, okay?
Listening to her like this, it's easy to get a picture of where Kylie's fondness for the guy comes from. She's far from a demanding child. Unless he made a promise of some sort, she never forgets those. She'll make friends with anyone, wherever she is. But buy her a few things, and voila, you're settled. No wonder she's so attached to the man. The douche probably showers her with gifts whenever he can. I can't say if the sentiment's the same for the latter, however. He doesn't seem the type, and probably just goes for the sake of getting some peace and quiet whenever he's with the girl. Classic techniques.
But before that, I'm gonna show him to everyone first. It's gonna be great. No one else has a gazillionaire fairy godfather.
That's probably true, Kylie. That's probably true.
Also, when I grow up, I'm gonna be exactly like him and marry someone really handsome.
That's the way to do it. Marry for looks, not for money. Well, marry for looks and money, not for love. I don't care. I'm not gonna.
Tia did. That way, I can be awesome too.
Anyway, there's some sort of misguided logic in there that I'd like to correct. Well, you should probably correct me too, Rebecca. Just saying. But before I can say my piece, douchebag steps in, fresh out of the commotion from the classroom behind us, and plows into the conversation with every subtlety a wrecking ball has. No shite given, despite no one asking for his opinion.
Munchkin, sweetie, trust me. You don't have to marry someone for that to happen.
I don't?
Just do your thing, darling. I'm quite sure you can do great things on your own without lugging around an extra baggage with you.
Amen.
Tia married you.
Kylie drops the statement without any sort of preface, and the moment it lands, the douche finds himself grappling with the conversation.
Yeah, well,
It's because she's pregnant.
that's true, Munchkin, technically. But it's not the same thing.
They also have a pretty weird relationship. In case you didn't watch the last episodes, in case you didn't watch the first 33 episodes of this, Luke and Hannah have quite an odd relationship, in my opinion, just in case you're wondering. A small frown creases from the girl's eyebrows as she tries to comprehend her Tio's rather vague explanation. It's not surprising either, when Luke tenses under the child's questioning gaze. It's familiar. I've seen the same look a great deal of times before on Ashton whenever he's trying to say something he can't quite phrase. Another second passes before the douche moves, kneeling in front of Kylie and placing both of his hands on either side of her shoulder. Kind of the last words I'll ever use to describe the man, but in this minute, there's a smile on his face I can't place, tender by all means for someone as obnoxious as him. It's a curious thing to see, if not a bit odd.
Listen here, sweetie. Tia was already a great person before she met me.
She is? But I don't see her doing anything. She's always at home.
Not always, Munchkin. Did you know she's really good at numbers?
You're good with them too. You helped me with my homework once.
Well, Tia's much better than me. She used to do maths with big numbers.
Oh,
Aw.
like millions?
That's kind of sweet of him to talk about his wife in a nice way. I did not expect that from him, to be honest with you, so brownie points for Luke, I guess.
No. Gazillions. And she's really, really good at it. So much so that her dad let her manage anything that had to do with it. That was even before she met me, too.
Does that mean she's better than you?
In my opinion, Hannah is better than Luke, just saying.
Oh, leagues, Munchkin.
It seems like Luke agrees.
Way, way better than I'll ever be.
For some reason, I don't think he's still talking about his wife's mathematical prowess as his voice trails off. In fact, if I had not been paying closer attention, I would have noticed the change in him. I wouldn't have noticed the change in him. The slight shift in his smile, from one that's tender to something wistful, like remembering a memory he has always been fond of, but often kept to himself. And at a fleeting glance of it, a tiny, insignificant part of the world somehow also shifts. Opinions changing, impressions moving.
You know what? Why don't you ask Tia next time you have homework,
Okay, next time I'll ask her to help out.
See? No need to marry a good-for-nothing bloke.
Can I also tell her to not stay at home anymore? If Tia's good at it, I'm sure she can help you out too. And Papa. He computes a lot of numbers too. Tia can help him.
You go do that. I'm sure she'll love to hear it, Munchkin, even if it's been a while since.
Another silence from him. Then, without missing a beat, he turns Kylie around and lightly pats her on the shoulder in a gesture to end their conversation right there and then. Probably before he can say other things he's never intended to say or a child is not meant to hear.
But off you go first. I think I saw your friend run off to the other classroom. The one with the pigtails? Go say hi to her. You still have those jelly babies to give her, yes?
All right. But wait for me, okay? I've got loads more to show you. They put up my drawing on the bulletin the other day. I'm gonna take you there later. I'll be back.
She soon disappears behind the small crowd, none the wiser to the sudden change in mood around her. Luke straightens as she's gone. As soon as she's gone, the expression on his face grows less kind now that there's no one to reassure. Despite that, a chuckle escapes me. His head quickly snaps at me, an accusing glare clear in his eyes. Although it's less threatening now, considering what I've witnessed earlier. Funny how one person's impression of someone can easily change with that minute detail.
Why are you laughing like that?
Don't mind me. I just saw something surprising today. Don't let it bother you.
You know, putting it like that won't make me any less inclined to ask. What is it, woman? If this is another one of your threats, I've already told you it isn't going to work on me. That good teacher act isn't going to fool anyone.
What makes you think it has to do with you? I could have just remembered something funny. Not everything in this world revolves around you, mister.
I am not daft, Daisy. It's on your face for all the world to see. Now, say it so we can be done with this stupid talk.
I let out another laugh. More to delay than to express any sort of amusement over the matter. In truth, I don't know where to start. One wrong move, one wrong word, and I might offend the man. He's childish enough for that, even if what I'm about to say is just mere honest observations. Should I say, you're good at handling her? Or, you really think that? I'm going to say you're good at handling her because I don't know what the other option is talking about, so. Well, regardless of how he reacts, it's not like it'll impact on anything between us. I have no plans of getting too friendly with a man, though he might have some good points, emphasis on might. The best treatment I can hope myself to give him is to stop thinking of him as a sleazy douche. Besides, after that look on him, I figure someone like him can use a little compliment here and there. He probably doesn't get much, considering how coarse his language can get.
Can't you act a wee bit polite for even a second of your life? It won't kill you. You'll easily get answers that way, you know? Instead of demanding things from people like a temperamental man-child.
I'll be nice when I want to be, woman. Don't tell me what to do.
And here I was just thinking how you're doing a brilliant job as Kylie's guardian. Was I mistaken?
Was I mistaken? What? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Stop playing dumb. I hate to admit it, but you actually seem to be good with kids. Possibly even better than most of the teachers here. What do you know?
I've expected him to just take it in, bloat his ego more, and even brag about it. Instead, what I get from him is a sound resembling a squawk. Or maybe that's him choking on his own pride. I can't tell above the hubbub surrounding us. But when I glance at him, only a mortified expression is on his face.
No.
No? You should be proud of yourself. At least there's this one good thing about you. Isn't that nice to hear? Pretty sure not a lot of compliments get thrown around about you, knowing how you are.
There are a lot of good things about me, Daisy. My hair, for one. There's also my extraordinary good looks. Wax lyrical about those all you want. I'd be happy to hear it any day. Praise anything about me but that.
What is so repulsive about it? Even Kylie likes you. Shouldn't that tell you anything about yourself?
Kylie is one kid, not even my own. Trust me, you do not want to see me bring a spawn of my own into this world. This will be an abomination.
That's another reason why I think Hana's pregnant. Ha 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 ha, he is fucked. Hey!
Is that what you keep telling yourself?
Maybe. Is it any of your business?
No. But if I didn't know any better, I'd say this is because you yourself think you're a little piece of shite and somehow it'll pass on. It doesn't work like that, by the way.
That last remark just came out. There might be a sliver of truth in it, but I shouldn't have phrased it like that. Even for my own standards or the kind of person I'm talking to, it's quite rude. An apology is ready at my throat, but the minute I open my mouth, all of what I'm prepared myself to say dissipates. Lost in the moment in front of me. He turns his gaze outside, staring at some point past the buildings, blocking the view of the sky, equally lost in his thoughts. He's a vexing man under so many standards. However, in this moment, the morning light stream from the window lends his features a certain air. Softer, less severe than what he often flaunts. I might as well be looking at a different man. There's a tender note in his voice when he finds it, the words muttered under his breath, not intended for anyone but himself. Nevertheless, it reaches my ears, unintentional as it may be.
You're right. She deserves someone far better than me.
Because Luke is a cheater. In case you haven't been watching the last 33 episodes, Luke cheated on his wife, who might be pregnant, with Marianne McCullough, by the way. Oh, what a tangled web ye weave. All that talk about self-worth makes some sense now. It isn't some profound knowledge he pulled out of his arse. It has come about because he's already been there, likely still stuck in the middle of it. Preaching about your own personal experience is easier, after all. Less room for mistakes, more for a dose of self-loathing. Self-loathing, that's a hard word to say. What a complicated man. Just when you thought you've already figured him out, he does one thing and says another. That sounds interesting. Sounds like me. People like him are the most difficult to gauge, far harder to understand. Yet it might be exactly for this reason why some are so easily charmed by him. It's the mystery that catches them, of wanting to find out what's underneath that bravado. I won't count myself among those yet. His winning personality isn't exactly my cup of tea. But sometimes, once you get a glimpse of what's beyond the machismo, empathizing with the man isn't such a steep hill to climb. If its comfortable silence we now share tells us anything, that is. Perhaps this is as close to our friendship as we can get. Several insults flung around with a few shared silences between, and that's not exactly a bad thing. He's not exactly a bad guy either, despite the awkward start we've had. Maybe it's for this reason that I can't resist throwing in a little comment to lift his mood before leaving him.
You know, Luke, you're not such a bad person.
Is that supposed to make me feel better? I'm touched, Daisy.
Take it how you will, but a little attitude change would help. A lot.
Bollocks. Right, of course. Let me know when you're done with your lecture, ma'am.
And you can probably start by not leaving your wife out while you're having some quality time with your goddaughter. Who knows? Maybe that'll help change how the child sees her.
Where did you even get the idea I'm leaving my wife out? Have you ever even met?
No, but I did see her with you two last time.
His indifferent expression quickly dissolved into a confused scowl, while I meet it with matching perplexity. It has only been 2 days. Surely his memory isn't that bad. Yeah, okay, I'm going to guess, ladies and gentlemen, this is your humble narrator, and I am going to guess that the person driving his car wasn't his wife, and it was actually the ghost of the mansion. So, just be prepared for that.
What? When was this?
At the cafe, after you left. She was sitting right beside you. Kylie was at the back and you were driving.
Daisy, are you sure you haven't accidentally hit yourself with your own book? Because that damn thing's quite big, and I'm really getting worried about you. It has only been a few days, and concussions can be dangerous. I suggest you have that checked.
Well, you asked. I just answered. It's pretty rude to make her wait like that, by the way.
How can I make her wait when she's not even with us?
What?
It was just Kylie and I that night.
I knew it!
Now you're just pulling my leg.
Nope. Luke exhales, long and drawn out, his impatience rapidly changing the companionable air around us. In the face of it, I tense. I've accidentally stepped into another minefield. Any chat I've had with him so far has been like this. Why this still surprises me escapes me, but above my worries of offending the man is my own bewilderment. I remember well enough what I saw that night, yet he says something completely different.
Wifey was out with Kylie's mummy that night. She wasn't with us. How do you think I ended up on babysitting duty?
But in the front seat. And Kylie's...
Miss Pink!
Kylie's sobs reaches my ears first, then her familiar weight returns around my waist again. Hot tears seep through my blouse as she buries her face in it, her arms winding tightly around me. Luke and I briefly exchange worried glances, his own lips shut tight with concern. Her cries are soft enough not to attract much attention. Most of the visitors have been ushered inside their rooms by now anyway. Those that still linger, though, watches our little group with great interest and concern. If I don't get a better handle on the situation, I have a feeling Luke will start yelling at everyone soon. Kneeling, I gently pull the girl away from me, cupping her face and wiping away tears, creating little trails on her cheeks. Her mouth is drawn in a miserable pout when she peers up at me.
All right, Kylie. Calm down. What happened?
It's my friend!
That's a little too vague, Munchkin.
Let her speak, Luke. Who is it, Kylie? Melody? Or was it the other one?
It's the ghost of the mansion, you goof!
Yeah.
Did the two of you fight?
She nods, then immediately clams up after, letting her sobs communicate the story instead, or as much as her shaking shoulders can tell me. Right behind me, Luke gives a nervous huff while he shifts on his feet. He must not be used to handling children crying. What a wuss.
Sweetie, I won't be able to help you if you don't tell me what happened.
Seconds pass before she responds again. The tears are already gone when she finally musters the strength to talk, her cries subsiding to mere sniffles.
I wanted to give her the rest of the jelly babies, but she won't come out.
Where? Where is she?
In the little girl's room.
Is she still there?
Another nod.
She won't say what's wrong. I kept asking her, but she told me to go away. Career Day's going to start soon. I saw the prizes Miss Alice will give us if we're good. She's gonna miss it.
Is that what you told her?
Yeah, she won't listen. She won't even take the jelly babies. After I saved it for her, too. Tio Luke wanted to eat the red ones, but I told him it's not for him. Miss Pink, can you talk to her? Tell her to come out, and I'm really upset with her.
Just a little childish argument then. Times like this, I'm glad I teach teenagers mature enough for petty squabbles. I do love being around children and won't mind having one or two of my own in the future, but it takes a whole different level of patience to teach several of them. I honestly admire my colleagues who willingly took the challenge. Normally, I'll leave this for their homeroom teachers to fix, but I can't just ignore the imploring look she shoots me. That's another weakness I'll have to steel myself against before I ever think of having one of my own. For now, I give into it.
Okay, tell me where she is, sweetie.
Sighing, I stand up and gesture for her to lead the way. Luke trails quietly behind us. Even with a small distance in between, his apprehension is palpable, understandably so. No one wants to be caught in the middle of a children's spat. But in the end, this is all part of my job. I can't just shy away from it, can I? Alright, we are going to end the episode off here. I have a feeling something big is about to come up, so I'm pretty excited about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, or don't. I don't give a shit. And, goodbye everyone.